Everyone, welcome back to Soft Wash Evolution. In this video, we're going to wash an entire house start to finish using nothing but a pressure washer and a chemical injector and a few gallons of bleach. It can be done, and if you're just starting out in the wash business, you do not need to go buy your own dedicated soft wash pump. Most houses can be done using just a pressure washer. So here we go. I'm at this customer's house, getting ready to wash. First thing I do when I get here, don't have it on video, but the customer got a call or a text or an email yesterday confirming their appointment, telling them about what time I'd be here. I usually just say morning or afternoon because I don't always know exactly what time I'm going to pull in, but I let them know approximately. This customer is a little older, they're retired, so they're not going to respond to a text message. They want a call or an email, usually a call. I hook the water up. First thing I do, I look at this, since this is a new customer especially, so if you're new to washing, all your customers are going to be new customers. It's this little roadway here, real quiet neighborhood. This is a small one-story little house. So I looked everything up via satellite and I priced this place. They want the house done and that's it. They don't want gutter cleaning, they don't want the roof, they don't want anything else additional. So I know I'm just going to be washing vinyl siding and they've got some brick on the front. Not much to do. Not much of a surprise anyway. Everything's pretty basic. When I pull in, where the house is turned, where the driveway is, determines where I park. All of for downstreaming, my pressure hose and my feed hose come off the passenger side of the truck. So I back in, I know I'm gonna wanna pull, from this direction. First thing I do when I jump out of the truck is grab my feed hose. Before I even ring the doorbell and talk to the customer, I grab that blue feed hose and I'm pulling it to the house and I hook it up before I even ring the doorbell because I get the water pumping into that buffer tank. I don't know what kind of water pressure there is here. I know this is city water, municipal water. This is the town of Clifton Park. They've all got good water here. Worked in the area many times, but I still hook the water up first. It's just a habit I've gotten into. Some people have terrible water pressure or they're on a well. You want to make sure that water's going. Knock on the door, tell the customer I'm here, what I'm going to be doing, and I remind them, close your windows, close your doors, and, don't come out unless you need something, because I'm going to be spraying windows and doors. Don't be opening them as I'm washing. So, and then I walk the property and just look for things that are going to be in my way. So I pull this hose out with me, my pressure hose. I got the gun attached. And I come over here, walk around, and I can see all these big bushes and trees that are going to be in my way. I've got to get behind those. And I know the customer's got a fence in the backyard. If you'll notice, there is no gate. So this corner from where my truck is here, this is going to be a stopping point. I'm going to have to pull from here and then around. If there were no fence here, I would pretty much split the house in half. I'd pull the hose all the way this way and I'd wash everything from the back to there and then rinse and then do it again on a house like this because it's set back. Got a lot of tree cover, not a lot of direct sunlight. I don't have to worry about keeping the windows wet type of thing. So I could literally soap half this house, rinse it, soap the other half, rinse it. I don't have to work in small sections. It's a pretty small house. But there's no gate, there's no way to get through this side. I could throw the hose over and then walk around. It just doesn't make sense. So I'm basically gonna wash from this corner around that side. So I'm gonna treat the house in halves that way instead of splitting it right in the back. I'm gonna split it at this corner. Come around here, so I pull just enough hose out to get to that corner. And then I'm gonna pull the rest of it around the corner so that the hose is already laid out for me. It prevents you from having to stop so much when you're washing. Have your hoses out before you get started. So got that split right there is the 100-foot mark. So I'll pull the other, I probably won't even need a whole another 100 feet, but I'll pull out some more and I'll lay it around the corner this way towards that gate. That way it's all set for me. Save yourself some time. My pressure washer's gassed up. Did that in the last job. So I've got enough to last this whole job. Don't expect to take, 45 minutes to an hour at most on this one. It's a pretty dirty place. So I'm ready to fire up and get going. I'll take you around back first and show you what we've got, and then we'll do a time check. We'll get to washing. Like I said, single story, ranch style home. I guess it is a story and a half, they call it, because there is an upstairs window. It's like an attic, finished attic portion. Little gate here going to the backyard. They did say I could if I could wash the shed for them, just the vinyl siding on the shed. I'll give that a wash too. The gutters really need to be done in this house. Tried to upsell that, but was not successful. I'll take you up there. You can see those trees growing in that gutter. That is bad. Can actually stand right up there. They are full. Try to get them to schedule that for the fall. So far, they didn't want it. Big pine trees back here. A lot of shade. That side's very dirty. The vinyl siding's pretty bad, but it'll all come clean. And this is that corner where we started. The neighbor's wood fence, they've got a couple vinyl panels. So, go back there and we'll fire up. This is my third house of the day, right? Yeah, third. I lose track. They start to all blend together. And I've booked 2 more, which is, that's more of my goal. Some guys just, I washed 6 today, I washed 8 today. Yeah, but how many did you book for the future? That's more important, I think. I've already booked 2, but I've got 2 more leads that came in, so I'll try to set those up too. So, let me see. Camera likes to go into sleep mode. What's the time? 10:34. One more swig of the energy drink and let's go. Fire it up. Gotta get a plastic cover for this thing. I keep forgetting to do that. The new remote. Not exactly waterproof, so it's good to put them in a plastic bag. We're actually going to apply to this side over this fence because this is the dirtiest side, so I want the most dwell time. That also determines where you start. If this house were in full sun, you've heard me say keep the windows wet before. That'll determine where you start. You might want to start on the north side if it's very dirty like this. Side is the dirtiest, so I want it to dwell the longest. So instead of just soaping it, coming back and rinsing it, probably let it sit the whole time that I'm here. We'll really let that stuff eat into it because it's pretty heavy growth on this side. So I'm just going to kind of spray it over the top of this fence as far as I can reach, let it drip down on it, and then I'll reapply when I get to that side and then give it a final rinse at the end. More time to dwell. The water stinks to high heaven because the job I had before this was on a well. Couple fence panels. I'll throw these few in for them. A couple fence panels would have gotten me $10 if I charged them. If I don't charge them, maybe they'll really appreciate it. It'll be nice this time. I didn't even ask them about it. They're older. I know they're not going to add anything on. So, but the house I was on before this was out in the country, or they're out in a rural area, and I did that one, and they had a well, and I know I've worked out there so much, it stinks like sulfur because they had very clay soil. The well water stinks. I'm gonna fight through this jungle. It's just some trees, but still, you got to get back here. Apply close up. And then I'll back out of here and apply it again from the outside, further away. Try not to damage the leaves of these trees while I'm here. We'll get the bottom of the gutter while we're up here. A lot of cobwebs. Move it on down. Spider webs everywhere. One thing when you're doing porches, whether it's front porch, back porch, any of these covered areas, I always apply to the inside, but you notice I didn't get in there and push my mix outward, because I get out here and what I like to do is push everything inward, and I do the opposite when I rinse. Make sure these tiny little spindle posts aren't an issue, but get those big square ones or big rectangle ones, you really only get two sides of them. You'll notice you miss the other side. So I just like to do everything from the outside in and then go in there and do the inside out. Do have to get the other side of this little decorative piece here in the front. It's gonna be hard to reach. Right there. I know the camera can't see it the way I'm angled, but I got it. Even though it's gonna drip on me, I'll get inside the porch now. And then you can see up here, it's all spider webs. So now I'll spray my mix from the inside out. Make sure I get covered all these areas. Each one of these posts from every angle. Now it creates a waterfall. Just gotta cover the camera up and I'll step out. Camera's waterproof, the GoPro, but the media mod is not, so try not to get it soaked. Pine needles and cobwebs. This side. And I'll probably apply to everything over here, and then I'll go back and rinse, but I'll leave that one really dirty side there till the end. Pull just enough hose, because I've got to double back on what I just did. Been getting a lot of comments on the customer contract portion of work. I know it's probably one thing a lot of newer guys struggle with the most is getting their customers locked down on contracts so that they can get them as repeat customers. Repeat is how I grew my business. I mean, growth, define growing your business as getting more customers, more service, more money. But getting the same customer back over and over several times a year, or, just year after year, is part of growing your business also. Because you can wash 100 houses, but if you only do, the 100 one time each, that's not going to sustain you. You're going to have to reach out and either pay more for advertising or somehow get more customers. If you pay for the advertising once, you get the customer and you get them to come back, you don't have to pay for them again. So I'm putting together a video about my contract that I use to get customers to stay with me. I'm going to put as much information in it as I can without giving away everything that I do. There are local wash guys, my competitors, that watch this channel. So I can't go giving away every little thing, but I'll give you as much as I can. Not like anyone would do anything, immoral, but they do. I think that's true everywhere. No one local would, know the places that I've quoted for wash and then featured on this channel, and then go to them and give them a bid of a couple $100 cheaper. Nobody would do that. Sense that sarcasm. Well, that's part of business. You're going to lose some of them. Not the end of the world. I've had quite a few actually. In the past month, I think I've had more commercial quotes, which is weird for this time of year. I mean, it's the very end of summer. Labor Day is this weekend. So it's pretty much the end of the summer season for me in this area. I mean, not for me washing. It's school starts up this week for kids. Pretty much the official and unofficial end of summer, as they consider it. I know it's like that in a lot of parts of the country, but definitely is around here. But the amount of commercial requests for quotes that I've had in the past couple weeks has been really more than it's ever been. I don't know what drove it. I've had hotels and businesses all looking for wash quotes. Not a lot of them booked though. It was just kind of odd. Normally they all look for it in the spring, want to get stuff cleaned up for their tourist season, and then it kind of drops off throughout the year, commercial wise. But this year it actually picked up. It was weird. You can see this green stuff didn't even, it reacted, but I mean, it needs another application with downstreaming. It needs to get a little hotter. So I'll just rinse the front of the house and then back to where I was, and we'll let this real dirty side sit a little longer. That's exactly what I planned on doing anyway. Turn the chemical injector off, waste out what's in this line. Well, use it anyway. Over here on this dirty side. I'll have to get over there to really give it a mix because I can't reach all the way to the bottom. Got a 6-foot vinyl fence in front of me I'm trying to wash over. Make sure we keep the windows wet even though they're in the shade. And we'll start our rinse process. Same nozzle. I'm still using a wide van tip. Single story place like this is probably the only one I'll use. I won't need the big shooter tip. Clean some of the junk off this fence for them. It'll look a little better. Actually, I probably will use the shooter tip to get the slime off those gutters, the aluminum gutters at the top there. Well, the bottom side of the gutters. Thinking after I rinse this window like this, and this bit of vinyl, I can shoot from back there, really get the gutters cleaned off, rather than get underneath them and spray straight up from out here, from inside those bushes. Into the jungle again, duck down. I know you're pointing straight at the ground, but there's not much I can do until I get backed out of here. There we go. Now, same way, the opposite, when I go to rinse this porch area, the covered area, I'm going to rinse, oh, the flower came off. These things grow like crazy. You rinse from the outside in, and you final rinse from the inside out to make sure everything comes out of there. So we'll just start at the top. Gutters are coming pretty clean with this wide nozzle. Get all that slime off of there. They're definitely overflowing, just like the back ones, I can tell. So now we'll go inside and we'll rinse everything out. Cobwebs are sometimes just push around and push around. It's better to just pull them down by hand. back up and wash all this. Cobwebs. Probably going to have to get my brush to wipe that area up there in the corner because there's cobwebs are hanging on. Bird seed everywhere. We had a bird feeder right there at one point. I told them, I always make sure I tell them take everything down. Bird feeders, wind chimes, all that type of stuff. So I don't want to risk knocking them down. Just like moving the furniture, it's part of the process. See a few paint chips came off those posts. A little bit of white paint chips down there on the ground. Last rinse of the front door. Put it down. Probably going to go in there with that other door there to the garage. Have my brush or rags. I'll go in there and wipe those cobwebs down by hand at the very end. Sometimes you just sit there and keep spraying and spraying. You're just pushing the cobwebs around. Around that light. Bugs are attracted to the lights. Spiders are attracted to the bugs. We keep going. As I get over to here, because I won't need my hose in the front anymore, so I'll pull it around this corner. Usually set my gun down, I'll pull the rest of my hose to this area. Look at that, another flower. I'll set it down, I'll pull my hose back so that it's in this area. I'll probably pull most of it around the corner so that I can reach all the way to where the end of my job is. So I'm not stopping. Again, you don't want the hose getting caught on God knows what. It's always an issue. People that got like decorative stuff in their yard, all their little decorative things, or even on the gutter downspouts or corners of the fence, it'll get caught on everything. And then you'll get frustrated and yank it. And you'll break something, or it'll come loose. You'll break your hose. Snap up and hit something, break something on the customer's property. You don't want that. So you take 60 seconds, get it all laid out the way you want it now. You don't coil it. Never coil pressure hose. The wire that's inside there is spiral wound. So when you coil it, you just made a spring and it will tangle. So you lay it out barbershop style, back and forth, so that it pulls just like it was on a reel. There we go. We basically just made a reel on the ground. So I'll turn the injector on. Make sure she's flashing. Lights are flashing. Even though I've still got to rinse this side, but I'm going to let this dwell a little more. Now we're going to hear the planes come in. Albany Airport's just over there. On the approach path of somebody. Actually, this side looks like it's ready to rinse, but I already turned the injector on, so we'll let it dwell a little bit longer. Now, up there's still some green, so we'll give it another application. If I rinsed it hard, it would probably come off. It's reacted, but we'll give it a little longer. We'll keep applying around the corner. Get the shed. This is the only upcharge they did. We'll add on for the shed, just clean the siding. Definitely try to convince them to have their gutters cleaned. Not today, but in the fall. They are, you know, retired. They're probably on a fixed income. They had planned exactly how much they were going to spend today, because they booked this a while ago. So when you get customers like that, you're not going to get an upsell that day. So I'll have to come back, but it's good for them too, is at this point those gutters have been full for over a year, probably years. So they can wait another 2 months. Wait until the leaves fall, most of the leaves fall, and get them done before winter so that the gutters flow. I always recommend customers do it spring and fall. That's what my customer contract comes into play. I have a lot of customers where they're under contract to get their gutters cleaned twice a year, have the house washed every year. It's good for them. They get the clean, maintained property. They know their gutters are working. They know the house will be clean. They get to pick their date way ahead of time. For the house wash anyway. For the gutter clean, I kind of give them like a week window. You know, I'll be there the second week of October 2025. And then once the day comes closer, I'll let them know, hey, I'll be there Tuesday. So obviously the gutter clean, they don't have to be there. They don't have to be there for a house wash either, but they know they're already under contract to pay. They know their gutters will be clean. They're usually not home anyway, so I'll get your gutters on Tuesday. Just in case you see me on the camera, that's me. They know what to expect. And it's great for me is I know I'm getting gutters that aren't that dirty. If I clean them twice a year, I'm maintaining them. Sure, they can still be full, depending on how many trees the customer has. But I'm cleaning them every 6 months. Yeah, I have to keep going back to the same house, but I know what my workload is. I know everything about that customer's property. I know the ones that are, hey, this one right here is a huge pain. They've got massive oak trees and pine trees. They're buried back in the forest. The gutters are going to be full no matter how often I do it. But then I've got other ones where they're not that bad. Just the back ones are bad. The front ones are real easy. Make little notes in my CRM so I know what to expect. And then I can set my day up like that. All right, I've got 10 gutter cleanings today. That would be a pretty busy day. I'm in the fall doing pretty much just gutter cleaning. The house washing really shuts right down when it gets cold. And I can say, all right, I've got a full day of gutter cleaning. What am I going to do? How am I going to structure it? Well, I'm going to I'm going to work in a certain area, geographical area. So I'll start here. I'll do 2 of them, in the same neighborhood. They're both normal ones. I've got this really difficult one. I'll save that one for the middle of the day when it's warmer, so I'm not freezing while I'm up there. And I'll do 2 other ones that are close by. Take a little break around lunchtime. Knock out the last 3, which are in this area. kind of set your day up like that when you know what your customers are going to be. You know what your jobs are going to be. Whereas when they're all new, you've never been there, you don't really know what to expect. You're just waiting for the surprise. And somehow it's always a bad one. You're like, oh, there's only a front gutter and a back gutter on this house. Not that big of a deal. And you get there, it's like this, where it's packed full and there's trees growing out of it. So you're going to be there a while. But I'll do what I can when I leave. I'll take pictures of that. Like I said, they're older. They probably don't come out back that often. And if they do, they probably don't look up at the gutters. They have someone, I'm sure, maintain the lawn and do all the work for them around the house, outside anyway. If I had to guess, I'd say they're late 70s. They're older people. But if I showed them a photo, said, you know, your gutters are really full. I know you don't want it done today, but it might be something you want to consider in the fall. Here's the price. If you'd like to have me do it, feel free. You can schedule with me now, or you can wait and send me a message on the website. We can schedule, but this is the price. It's good for the rest of the season. And since they had their house washed with me, they're already in the CRM. And if they don't answer me today, I'll wait 2 weeks and they'll get a prompt reminding them, hey, you got a quote. Would you like to move forward? Schedule fills quickly. Hopefully I can lock them down. Let's go check out that side that we started with. Still going to need to apply more to it, obviously, but yeah, so you can see where I've applied from the top down. That's what I could reach, and this is where it just dripped. So now we'll do a real application from the bottom up. Over there, it's reacted nicely. It's had a lot of dwell. Apply to these fence panels for them. That one's busted on the corner. You see they got duct tape holding it together, but that's why when you set up how you're going to do the wash, you know, look at the house, take a minute to walk around, see where the dirtiest part is, where the cleanest part is, what's going to be a problem, what's going to take the most time. Even though this side is the smallest side, it takes the least amount to wash it. You got to apply multiple times. I could get the soft wash pump out and dial it up to 3% and hit it real quick. It would melt instantly, but it uses a lot more chemical. I'll just let the downstreaming mix do its thing. And give it some more dwell, reapply, and let it dwell again. If it were a big 2-story house, full sun, no trees, yeah, I'd be busting out the other pump. Or I could change out the orifice of this injector and get it hotter. Kind of reapply to some of these trouble spots as we go back to the beginning. We'll rinse our way through. It's not uncommon to have to reapply to really, really dirty places that you've never done before or nobody's ever done before. When they're that bad, the mix is going to take some time to work. Don't think it's just like every YouTube video where you spray it once and it instantly comes off. This shed one more shot. Over here it's not so bad. The roof is terrible. The roof's got moss on it, 1 inch thick. shed we go. This side's looking good. So we'll turn the chemical injector off. The remote off. Lights are off. We're back to water. And we'll give it a rinse. This area I'm in, this is Clifton Park, so this is still in Saratoga County, you know, a few miles from where I live. Once you get down here, this is where I call the ultra competitive area. Just on the way here, I should have had the camera on my dashboard, mounted it. And these few little streets on my way in here, there was probably 6 other wash guy signs. I knew most of them. There was like 1 or 2 that I've never seen before, never heard of. But yeah, this is, once you get down here, I swear, there's a new one every couple weeks. Just how it goes. I'm sure a lot of you experience the same thing. Guys will pop up and then disappear. A lot of times it's other businesses too. You know, the lawn care guy will take on pressure washing or soft washing. So if you pay attention, you'll notice it's a totally different business name, but it's the same phone number as that lawn care guy that you know, because he started doing this too. Somebody heard, hey, I can make a ton of money pressure washing, and it's easy. I should start doing that. So you see their signs for a year, and then the next year they're gone. They're back to doing lawn care, and then now they're doing general contracting, and you're washing a house, and you'll notice the guy that was your competitor last year is now building a deck on the neighbor's house. What are you doing building a deck? I thought you were washing. No, I'm not doing that anymore. No money in it. It's usually how it goes. When I'm down here, it's actually rare that I don't run into another one of them, like doing the neighbor's house or stopping me. They're everywhere. Pretty populated area. The school system here in Clifton Park, the public school, one of the largest high schools in New York State. I mean, outside of the city, obviously. We don't consider New York City part of New York State. For those of you that aren't from here, it's a whole other country as far as we're concerned. But outside of the city, for being upstate as far as we are, it's a huge school system. It's a very, very populated area. So I guess that's a lot to do with why there's so many small businesses popping up. There's a lot of houses. I get the density thing. Not one company can't wash them all. But it just seems like this town, Clifton Park, is insane with pop-up businesses. Everybody probably thinks that about their area because they get frustrated with the competition's taking your work or what you think is your work, Everybody's gotten that frustration where the new guy comes along and is underbidding everything and taking all the work. Or the new company, whatever it is. When you bid $400 for a house, they come along and say they'll do it for $200 or a little bit less. I don't really worry about that too much. I kind of did when I was newer. Now, I have so many returns that it doesn't matter. Every once in a while, I'll lose one of my return customers to the new, one of the newer guys. Sometimes the customers are honest about it. They're like, oh, some other young kid knocked on my door, actually. I'm not going to need you to wash my house because I didn't, reach out, but they just knocked on my door and said they would wash my house for $100. So I had them do it. Is that okay? Well, you can do whatever you want, but if you don't want to be under, my contract anymore, because it renews every year, they have to renew it if they don't want it. They can just simply not renew it, or they can reach out and say, proactively go, I'm not going to do it this year. And sometimes they'll tell me, oh, I had someone do it for cheap. That's fine. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. It's not the end of the world. I've heard just as many times where, well, I had somebody else do it and they did a terrible job, so we're going to go back to you. That's happened. It's also happened where I never hear from them again. Maybe the new guy did do a good job doing it for cheap. Either way, it's not my problem, because if he did the same job I do for half as much, he's not going to be able to do that forever. It's the same way with everyone. They're not going to be able to do those, you know, next to nothing income washes. They're going to run out eventually. They're going to have to raise their prices. They're going to have to start making a profit. They can't be the $99 guy forever. It seems like they're going to scoop all your work, but they're going to take a few from you. They'll probably be on to something else. Like I said, they'll start doing lawn care, and then they'll start building decks, and we'll go on to the next get-rich-quick scheme. Because that's what they're doing. They're trying to, they heard that you could make money, and it's easy, and you don't have to spend a lot of money up front. Well, objectively, that may be true compared to other things. So if you were going to start, you know, excavating business, you got to have a truck, a trailer, an excavator, a skid steer, you know, 3 or 4 employees, all this equipment that costs tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, definitely hundreds of thousands if you want all that. Truck alone can cost you $100,000. But you've got to have all that at a minimum. So you're making payments on all that stuff, so it's a big upfront investment. You get into washing, you can start with $1,000 and your personal pickup truck or SUV, or, you know, a small little trailer from Tractor Supply. That's all you really need to get started. You're not going to get the big high-paying jobs. You're not going to get a lot of them, but you can get started. So that's where the allure of washing comes from. They see someone else who has just a small truck, $1,000 worth of gear in the back, and they're doing three $300 house washes in a day. And they're like, he just made $1,000 and all he used was 10 gallons of bleach and some soap and his, you know, $1,000 pressure washer with hoses and attachments. I could do that. And then sure enough, they jump on the bandwagon. But it doesn't last long. There's ways to push them. They'll have one bad something go wrong and they'll bleach something they weren't supposed to bleach. Or like I said, they'll just run out because they'll start scooping it. They'll say, oh, I don't even need 1,000 a day. I only need 700. So I'll do every job for $250. I'll just get my three $250 jobs and I'm out of here. I only spent $50 in bleach, $700 profit. I'll do that every day. No, you're going to do that for about 6 weeks. Then you're going to run out of customers because you didn't advertise, you didn't market, you don't know how to expand or scale, so you're stuck. And that's what will happen to them. And then they'll quickly go, no money in this. And they go back to cutting grass. Or I'll wash a little bit, but I'll get into this industry also. And before you know it, they're into 10 different things. So I've got to kind of put together another video about that race to the bottom, how to deal with the cheap guys that are coming in, scooping your customers. But there's a lot of videos about that, how to deal with them. I mean, I would say don't get in arguments and things like that. If they approach you, I mean, you could just be cordial. Best way to deal with them. For the most part, I just ignore them. They'll reach out every once in a while. I get crazy emails and text messages and stuff from people. I mean, I've had to the point, I've had local guys and guys from all over the country because of this YouTube channel. It's, you know, people from all over now. But I've only been doing this for a couple months, so it's been recently that it's been non-local guys. But I've had people reach out blindly out of nowhere on an email just saying, hey, I'm starting out washing. I think you're great. Do you want to finance me a rig and all the equipment and I'll cut you in at part of the cost? I mean, right up front, they're basically asking for $50,000 to buy a rig and a truck and or whatever they want and start washing. If I just give them that money, they'll give me some of their profit. Yeah, I don't know. I can spell scam, but I just ignore them. If everyone thinks they can do it, and if your first thought is to buy the biggest rig in the truck and go, you're completely backwards. You got to get the customers first. But I'm gonna go rinse that shed, and other than cleaning up around that door in the front, I'm done. And then trying to lock down the gutter cleaning for later. My phone has rang a couple times in my pocket while I've been filming this. The numbers were showing up as not spam, actual people. So I looked at my watch and not a number I recognize, not one that I've got saved, so they're new customers. And once they call my voicemail, I don't do voicemail. I can't stand it. So people leave you voicemails and then you gotta call them back and they don't answer, so now you leave them a voicemail, but then they don't leave you the address, so basically you're just calling them back saying, call me back, I'll get you a quote, but I need your address. Then they tell you, they don't give you the address, but they want to call you back again, and it's just a back and forth. This time of year I could probably handle it, it's not as busy. We're getting into fall. But in the dead of summer when that happens, it drives me nuts. So my voicemail, my business voicemail literally says, thanks for calling. We're not able to take your call. Please go on the website and fill out the contact form. That's how we do quotes, and that's how we communicate. So it's basically politely saying, do not leave a voicemail. Some people still do, but I'd say 95% of them get the hint and they go online and fill out the contact form. Once I've got their contact form filled out, I can call them back or email them or text them when I've got a second. Because right now, not only am I trying to film a video, which is part of my work also, but my hands are wet, I'm holding the gun, I'd be yelling over the sound of the pressure washer if I was close to it, or I'm on a ladder, whatever. It's a giant pain. And then they give me all their information. Yeah, I want a house wash. I live at 123 Main Street. Okay, well, I can't really look it up right now. Can I call you back? And it's just another back and forth. Or I can try to look it up right then on my phone, but then again, I got the gloves on, my hands are wet. So I prefer to just fill out their information. Now I've got everything. I've got their name, phone number, address, I've got their email. I can communicate with them 3 different ways. I can look up everything I want to know before even calling them back, so I have it all. Yep, I looked up your information. Here's your quote for your house, your roof, your gutters, whatever it is. Also, here's, if you're interested, I offer other services. Here's a quote for the patio, the deck. We're gonna go shut that pressure washer off. See what we got. 11/16. That's how you wash a house. I got a little bit of touch up to do around that front door. Cobwebs to knock down. Drain that tank, roll these hoses, on to the next one. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hopefully you found that useful.